Hey guys, it's BW and we're back out in the garage. This is the first Saturday I've had in 3 months just to come out and work in the garage. We talked last night on the live. I talked about, well, I'm going to clean the garage, I'm going to tinker around. Well, I didn't clean the garage, I just kind of moved some stuff around. I've been staring at the car, I did take some items out of the car. I ran down, I got some high build primer. So at some point this week we're going to start messing with the dash. But I wanted to get some parts ready for the bike because Phil will be coming over pretty soon and I want to be ready. I got the center console gauge cluster assembly painted and I got the trim piece painted. I'll show you that real quick, and I got some stuff to show you with that ignition that you'll see in the video. I put together some footage of Phil and I working on the bike this week, and you'll see how we struggled with the ignition. It was froze up, but I got a story about that. It just happened today that I want to tell you. What I also want to do is give out some shout outs. I haven't done any shout outs in a while and I'm really sorry about that. So the first one I want to give is to Jaws at B&C Performance. He's a great guy. He's a good source of knowledge. If he doesn't know the answer, I promise you he'll help you find out what the answer to a question you might have is. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to provide a link right up here, and you guys can click over and check out his channel. He's entertaining, he's a fun guy. He also bought me a lava lamp. He's a heck of a guy, ain't he? The other shout out the other shout out I'd like to give this week is to my buddy Andy's Doghouse up in Canada. Andy's always finding a solution to a problem, and it's his own way of fixing stuff. He always finds a way out without buying much of anything, and I like that kind of entertainment. All right, he's already built a really cool Fargo truck, and he's always taking the tire right off the rims, doing burnouts up there. But he's got a really cool project in that, and he's got a few more projects in the pipeline coming up. All right, now he likes to drink beer. I like to drink root beer, but both of those guys are guys I'd love to have for a neighbor. And I'll also provide you a link right here to his channel so you can go up and check it out if you haven't already. All right, so those are my 2 shout outs for the week. I want you guys to check out this footage of Phil and I working on the bike. Then I'll bring you back in and we'll talk about what I got going on this table and what I've been doing today out in the garage. Stick around and check us out. Oh, it's going. Look at that.
What's that? It's in.
Cool.
I took it out of the corner the other day. It was leaking. The head gasket was blown. I ended up tearing it all apart, throwing it back together with new gaskets. Usually I like to do like a hone and new rings, but I'm already 30 over on the pistons, so I don't think I don't have any more left.
There's nothing
I'll have to buy more pistons and cylinders. I don't feel like doing that yet.
All right, we got a battery in this. Phil pulled the plugs. We're just gonna move it back and forth and see, make sure nothing's froze up. And got the carburetor put back together, and then we're gonna put some gas in it and see if we can get it to run. Where's that? That might be too high. Found 5th?
Yeah.
They're moving.
Good.
Yeah. That's say Jamie put he put a bunch of
You hear the
Mirror.
piston going up and down?
yeah, I heard it. He put a bunch of that miracle mystery Marvel Marvel mystery in there, so it's been sitting for a while. That's cool. All right, we'll shut this off and go get some gas. All right, guys, we were thinking about firing the bike up, but the ignition is completely frozen, so it won't rotate. We had a heck of a time even getting the key in, but when we finally got it in, it won't rotate. So we're just wiring it up. Just gonna wire nut it together for now. Ignition itself, I don't know where I set that down at, but we're gonna soak that. I'd like to be able to save it only for the Harley key itself, the original one. So I'm gonna play with the ignition, but in the interim, we're just gonna see if we can get this thing to start up real quick. All right, let's see here.
You got a little wire nut?
All right. Now you put the engine in the run position.
Pull the choke out.
Pull the choke out, and we are.
There we go.
We're in neutral, right?
Yep.
Are we on reserve or are we on regular?
We're on reserve. I would just give it more gas. Reserve's usually up. Crank it. Is there a gas spraying? Should be able to see the spray.
Not so much now. I'm gonna give it a little shot.
Yeah, you could if you would. Probably gonna have to rebuild that cord. You're not gonna get any. You're not getting any. You should be able to see this jet here. It should spray right in when you go. Right?
There's nothing coming out now.
Yeah, they just might need to be a little. You know.
Oh, we know it runs.
Yeah.
There you go, first start in 28 years. Looks like it's gonna be a carburetor rebuild though. All right guys, well as you can see, we got the bike running. The carburetor needs rebuilt, but she's a runner. It's a nice bike, it really is. Thanks Jamie, you gave me a nice bike, buddy. I appreciate it. So anyway, I wanted to bring you guys in and show you what's going on over here on the table. All right, first thing, you guys remember me talking about the center trim piece and the gauge cluster. The paint was just flaking off of it. So Phil picked me up the exact thing you're supposed to use, the textured black from Harley Davidson, so it's factory fixed. All right, we took this down to bare metal. I put 4 thin coats on. It looks brand new. All right, now the rubber on this was just falling off, so I got glue to glue that back on, but we're gonna wait 48 hours. We're gonna follow the directions to the T. We put 4 thin coats instead of 3, and we're gonna let it harden up for 48 hours. The gauge cluster also come out really nice. Now I masked it off. I masked the gauges and even the rubber, because the rubber's still glued on it, and I didn't want to take a chance on ripping it. Talked about it with Phil, and he felt the same way, just so I masked it off. But man, it came out really, really nice. I think the reason this was flaking off so easily, it was like really smooth. There was like no etching at all to the metal. So I hit it with 600 just to put a little, you know, roughness to it, so the paint had something to grab. And it came out really, really nice. Look at that, guys. So that's exact replacement Harley Davidson paint. See? Proof is in the can. So anyway, you guys saw how we were struggling with this ignition. All right, no matter what I did, it would not work. I tried fiddling with it. My buddy Bart at work tried fiddling with it. Phil tried fiddling with it. Then I tried fiddling with it some more, to the point I completely disintegrated a key trying to get it to move, and it wouldn't move. So I was like, well, I guess I'll have to buy an ignition. And I even went as far as texting Phil to see if he wanted me to order it or if he had one laying around we were going to use. And within 5 minutes of that, I noticed this lock over here, you know, for the forks, right here. And I put one of the keys in and it wouldn't work. And I'm like, what the heck's going on? Is that tumbler bad too? And then I found the original Harley Davidson key. And I put it in the tumbler over here at the forks to lock the forks, and it worked. And I'm like, well, maybe it'll work on the ignition as well. And I'll be dipped if it didn't. It's a little rough. Let me see if I can get this in here for you guys. All right, a little goes on and off, no problem. It's still a little rough, as you can see, getting the key out. But I think that's going to loosen up. I think that's going to loosen up with time. But the original Harley Davidson key was the answer. I assume that these ones were made, you know, afterwards. Jamie had an alarm system in it, or I guess the bike had an alarm system installed when he bought it. I'll have to ask him which. But we have that unhooked now too, because that's got its own set of problems. And I didn't know if it came with, you know, extra keys when he got the alarm or what, and maybe they worked when the bike was new, but now only the original Harley Davidson key works. So we're going to solder this ignition back in when we get time, because we want to keep everything as original as possible. You guys notice I do stuff like this, getting the bike ready and paint and stuff, but when it comes to everything else, I kind of like having Phil here because of his experience. I mean, if this was like a run-of-the-mill 883 Sportster or something for me to learn on, I'd rip it right down. I'd take the jugs right off, man, no problem. But this being a numbered bike, we want to take our time with it and keep it just so. All right, I believe I already showed you guys. The bike is 1,220 out of 1,700 ever made. All right, so that's kind of cool, and we're going to keep it that way. We're going to try to keep it as original as we can, aside from the consumables. All right, so that's what I got. That's what I've been up to. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I enjoyed making it. I want to let you guys know this week I am going to start a project on the car. I'm going to start sanding out the dash and stuff, and I'll bring you guys in maybe for a couple shorts or a small video. I don't want to really bore you guys with a bunch of body work stuff, but I will show you the beginnings, the middles, and the ends so that you guys get the gist of it. And I am excited to get back on the car, and I know a lot of you are waiting for me to get back on the car, so that's what we're going to do. Our time's starting to open back up. Pretty soon the purse strings will too, but we'll do what we can for now. So until next time, take care, everybody.